Buying a camera in 2026 isn't buying gear, it's joining a tribe. The second you buy your first lens, you're locked in. You don't date a camera body, you marry the lens system. So before you drop $2,000 and emotionally attach yourself to a mount, you need to know which tribe you actually belong to. Because the mistake isn't picking the wrong camera, it's picking the wrong personality. Rapid logo cuts, lens clicks, cash register sound, 4 tribes. No spec sheet nonsense. Let's step into the cage. If you like brutally honest tech breakdowns without brand worship, subscribe to Alt Buzz. This channel is about clarity, not cults. We don't do propaganda here, we do truth. All right, 4 tribes, let's begin. If your love language is firmware updates and spec sheets, this is your tribe. Sony doesn't make cameras for people who want to feel something. They make cameras for people who want to win something. And in 2026, they're still winning on paper. Let's talk about what makes Sony the safe bet. Autofocus. It's telepathic. Real-time eye tracking for humans, animals, birds, vehicles, even insects. The A1, the A7C Mark II, the FX3. These cameras don't miss. If you miss focus on a modern Sony, it's not the camera, it's you. But the real genius of Sony isn't the body, it's the ecosystem. E-mount is the most open system in the industry. Sigma, Tamron, Samyang, Viltrox. You want a 50mm lens? You have 12 options under $1,000. You want a telephoto zoom? You have choices Sony themselves don't even make. This is the cheapest system to build long-term. Why? And it's not even close. Sony is the tribe for hybrid shooters, YouTubers, solo filmmakers. People who need autofocus that works in the chaos of real life. If you shoot weddings alone, events without a second shooter, or run-and-gun documentary work, Sony is the brain you need. This is the system that adapts to you, not the other way around. When you're moving fast and the light is changing and your subject won't sit still, Sony keeps up. That's the promise. That's the reputation. That's why professionals who live and die by reliability keep coming back. But here's the cost. Sony cameras feel like mini computers. The menus have improved since the A7 Mark IV, but they're still layered, still corporate, still designed by engineers who think in spreadsheets. The grip on the A7C line? Uncomfortable if you have big hands. The colors? They've gotten better, but many professionals still reach for Canon when shooting skin tones. Sony gives you flexibility, but you'll spend more time in post making it look human. There's also something intangible missing. When you hold a Sony, it doesn't feel like a creative instrument. It feels like a tool, a very good tool. A tool that does exactly what you ask it to do. But tools don't inspire, they execute. And for some people, that's enough. For others, it's the reason they never fall in love with their camera. Sony users respect their gear. Canon users love theirs. That's the difference. That's the emotional tax Sony charges for being the most logical choice. So here's the verdict. Choose Sony if you want maximum specs and maximum lens freedom. Or choose Sony if you're the type of person who reads firmware update notes like they're movie scripts. Choose Sony if you believe the best camera is the one that never gets in your way. But specs aren't everything. Some people want comfort. If this breakdown is already saving you from a bad purchase, hit subscribe. We keep it honest here. No fluff, no brand deals. Just the truth you need before you commit. Now let's talk about the brand that feels like home. Canon is the camera equivalent of a luxury car. You're paying for the experience. The grip feels like shaking hands with an old friend. The menus are intuitive. You don't need a manual to find white balance or switch autofocus modes. Everything is exactly where your brain expects it to be. And the colors. Canon's color science is legendary. See, skin tones straight out of camera look like they were graded by a professional colorist. Wedding photographers swear by it. Event shooters rely on it. Broadcast professionals trust it. If you need to deliver images fast with minimal post-production, Canon gives you that luxury. The EOS R5, the EOS R6 Mark II, the EOS R8. These are cameras built for people who shoot under pressure and can't afford mistakes. Canon's dual-pixel autofocus is extremely close to Sony's performance. And in some lighting conditions, it's actually more reliable. This is a system designed for professionals who need consistency. There's also trust. Canon has been in the professional space longer than anyone. They've earned loyalty. When you show up to a shoot with a Canon, nobody questions your credibility. It's the industry standard, the broadcast standard, the wedding photography standard. That brand equity matters. It opens doors, it wins clients. And for professionals building a business, that intangible value is as important as autofocus speed or dynamic range. Canon isn't just selling cameras, they're selling peace of mind. But here's where the marriage gets expensive. Canon restricts third-party autofocus lenses. You must buy Canon RF glass for full compatibility. And RF glass is premium tier pricing. A 70 to 200 millimeter f 2.8, $4,000. A 24 to 70 f 2.8, $2,300. Compare that to Sony, where you can get Tamron or Sigma equivalents for half the price. This is the RF tax. And it's real. Canon protects their cinema line. They segment features intentionally. Now the R6 gets overheating limits that the C70 doesn't. The R8 lacks in-body stabilization that the R6 has. They make you choose, and every choice costs money. Canon also has a history of gatekeeping, record limits, firmware choices that feel strategic instead of generous. They're protecting their high-end cinema cameras from being cannibalized by their hybrid line. So you're not just buying into a system, you're buying into a business model, and that business model is designed to extract maximum value from you at every tier. Want unlimited recording? Buy the cinema line. Want full stabilization? Buy the flagship. Want affordable lenses? Too bad. Canon's ecosystem is a ladder, and every rung costs more than the last. But here's the thing. If you're a professional, you'll pay it, because Canon feels right. The ergonomics are the best in the industry. The reliability is unmatched. The colors are perfect. You're paying for comfort, and you'll feel it in your wallet, but you'll also feel it in your hands every single day. So here's the verdict. Choose Canon if you want reliability and perfect color, and you're okay committing financially. Choose Canon if you believe the best camera is the one that feels invisible. Choose Canon if you're the type of person who values experience over specs. But what if you want power without premium pricing? Nikon is the overachiever nobody expected. They stumbled during the DSLR to mirrorless transition. They lost market share, they lost momentum. But in 2026, they're back, and they're swinging. Let's talk value. The Z8 offers features that cost $2,000 more on Sony or Canon. And the 6 Mark III punches so far above its weight class it's almost unfair. Nikon is giving you professional-grade tools at enthusiast prices, and they're doing it without compromise. But the real genius of Nikon is the Z mount. It has the widest inner diameter of any full-frame mirrorless system, 55 millimeters. That means Nikon can design lenses that are optically superior. The knocked 50mm f/0.95, the 40mm f2. These are lenses that Sony and Canon physically cannot replicate because their mounts are smaller. And Nikon's firmware culture is generous. They push major updates years after launch. New autofocus modes, new video features, bug fixes that Canon would charge you for. Nikon treats firmware like a service, not a product. And they're rebuilding trust by supporting their cameras long-term. What Nikon figured out is something the other brands forgot. Loyalty isn't bought with marketing, it's earned with support. When you buy a Z8, you're not just getting the camera as it exists today. You're getting the camera it will become over the next 3 years. Nikon keeps updating, keeps refining, keeps adding features that competitors would save for the next model. That's not just good customer service, that's respect. And in an industry where planned obsolescence is the norm, respect is rare. The Z8 is the camera that convinced professionals Nikon was serious again. It's often compared to the Sony A1, but it costs less and weighs more. And that's the trade-off. Nikon's Pro lenses are heavier. Their S-line zooms are built like tanks. If you're hiking for hours, you'll feel it. If you're shooting all day, you'll feel it. The ecosystem is also smaller than Sony's. There are fewer third-party autofocus options, though that's improving, and Nikon is still fighting market perception. People still think of them as the DSLR brand. But if you actually use a Z8 or a Z6 Mark III, you realize that perception is outdated. Nikon's biggest challenge isn't the cameras, it's the reputation. They're the underdog, the comeback kid. And underdogs have to work twice as hard to earn half the credit. That Z-mount advantage? Most people don't know about it. That firmware generosity doesn't make headlines. That value proposition gets buried under Sony's autofocus hype and Canon's color science worship. Nikon is winning on merit, but they're losing on marketing. And in 2026, marketing still matters. The cameras are ready. The question is whether the market is ready to give Nikon a second chance. But here's the truth. If you care more about what's in your bank account than what's on your camera strap, Nikon is the smartest choice you can make. You're getting flagship performance at mid-range prices. You're getting long-term support. You're getting a mount designed for the future, not retrofitted from the past. Nikon isn't flashy, but they're honest. And honesty is underrated. So here's the verdict. Choose Nikon if you want bang for buck and durability. Choose Nikon if you're the type of person who reads reviews, compares specs, and makes smart financial decisions. Choose Nikon if you believe the best camera is the one that respects your wallet without compromising your work. Now let's talk about the most emotional brand in this fight. Quick pause. If Alt Buzz helps you cut through marketing noise, you can support the channel. Visit our website at Alt Buzz Media or become a member. Core member is $5. Elite partner is $10. If you want to support the work, that's how you do it. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now, because we don't do brand propaganda here. We do clarity, we do honesty, we do the research so you don't have to. Now let's talk about Fujifilm. Fujifilm doesn't make cameras for people who want the best autofocus. They make cameras for people who want the best experience. And in 2026, that experience is still unmatched. Film simulations, Provia, Velvia, Classic Chrome, Eterna, Nostalgic Neg. These aren't just presets. They're digital recreations of legendary film stocks, and they look cinematic straight out of camera. No editing required. You shoot, you post. It looks like a movie. The X-T5, the X-S20, the X-106. These cameras make you want to shoot. The physical dials for shutter speed and ISO, the tactile feedback, the retro design. Fujifilm understands that photography isn't just about the image. It's about the ritual, the process, the joy. And because Fujifilm committed to APS-C instead of chasing full frame, their lenses are smaller and cheaper. A 35mm f1.4 weighs almost nothing. A 56mm f1.2 gives you creamy bogey without the bulk. You can build a 3-lens kit that fits in a small bag and costs less than a single Canon RF lens. Well, Fujifilm understands something the big three don't. Photography is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to make you feel something. When you hold an X-T5, you're not holding a computer. You're holding a camera, a real camera, with dials that click, with a shutter that sounds like it matters, with a design that makes you want to walk around your city just looking for light. That's not nostalgia. That's design philosophy. Fujifilm believes the tool should inspire the work, not just enable it. This is the system for street photographers, travelers, people who shoot for the love of it, not the paycheck. Fujifilm users are a cult, and they know it. They're the tribe that talks about their camera like it's a member of the family. But here's the reality check. Autofocus. It's improved with AI firmware updates, but it's still behind Sony and Canon. If you're shooting erratic sports, fast-moving kids, or unpredictable wildlife, Fujifilm will frustrate you. It's good enough for most people, but it's not telepathic. Video specs are solid, but the smaller bodies overheat in long 4K and 6K sessions. The XS20 is compact and beautiful, but if you're recording a 30-minute interview, you'll hit thermal limits. And because Fujifilm is APS-C, you're trading sensor size for portability. You get less shallow depth of field ceiling than full frame. You get slightly less low-light performance. It's a trade-off, and you need to know that going in. Fujifilm is also niche, and niche means limitations. Fewer lens options than Sony, fewer professional support resources than Canon, Fewer camera rental houses stocking Fuji bodies. If you're building a career as a commercial photographer, clients might raise an eyebrow when you show up with an X-T5 instead of an R5. Fair or not, perception matters. Fujifilm is the underdog's underdog. You're choosing personality over practicality. You're choosing soul over specs. And that's beautiful, but it's also risky. But here's what Fuji users will tell you. The limitations don't matter when you love using your camera. When every shoot feels like play instead of work. When your images look finished the moment you press the shutter. That emotional return on investment? That's what Fujifilm sells. Not the best autofocus, not the biggest ecosystem, but the best feeling. And for some people, that feeling is worth everything. So here's the verdict. Choose Fuji if you want style, joy, and ready-to-post images. Choose Fuji if you're the type of person who believes the best camera is the one you actually want to carry. Choose Fuji if you're not chasing specs, you're chasing feeling. All right, let's simplify this. 4 tribes, 4 personalities. Sony equals brain. If you overanalyze specs, if you need the most versatile ecosystem, if you want autofocus that never fails, Sony is your tribe. Canon equals hands. If you want comfort, if you need perfect color straight out of camera. If you're willing to pay for reliability, Canon is your tribe. Nikon equals wallet. If you want value, if you need professional features without professional pricing, if you believe smart buying is good buying, Nikon is your tribe. Fuji equals heart. If you want emotion, if you need images that look cinematic with zero effort, if you believe photography should be fun, Fuji is your tribe. The mistake isn't picking the wrong camera, it's picking the wrong personality. Because once you buy that first lens, you're married. And marriages are expensive to get out of. If this helped you avoid a $2,000 mistake, subscribe to Alt Buzz. It helps this channel grow and keeps this content coming. No brand deals, no sponsored fluff. Just honest breakdowns that save you money and time. Which tribe are you pledging allegiance to? Fight for your brand in the comments. Tell me why your system is the best. Tell me why I'm wrong. I want to hear it. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can send a super thanks. Anywhere from $2 to $100. Every bit supports the channel and helps us keep making content like this. Visit our website at AltBuzz Media for more brutally honest tech coverage. Become a core member for $5 or an elite partner for $10. Support independent journalism that doesn't bow to brands. You're not buying a camera. You're choosing a marriage. And like any marriage, it's not about perfection, it's about compatibility. The question isn't which camera is the best. The question is which camera is the best for you. Choose wisely, shoot honestly, and remember the lens is the vow. The body is just the ceremony. This is Alt Buzz, where gear meets truth.